Hi, folks. It's Joe Lum, and I apologize for the delay, but with football season underway, the second week of college and week one of the pros, I'm a little late on this Sunday for album rankings. This week I ranked the 10 best rock and metal albums of 1992. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and when you're done watching this video, feel free to check out past album rankings episodes. The playlist is in the description box. We kick off this list at number 10 with Kiss's Revenge. It's the debut of Eric Singer on drums following the death of the Fox Eric Carr in late 1991. The album was produced by Bob Ezrin as he reconnected with the band after the debacle that was Music from the Elder from 10 years earlier. The record saw a departure from the pop-influenced glam metal which characterized most of the band's output of the 80s for a much more heavier sound. However, it failed to re-establish the group back into the mainstream, aka regain their former glory. I thought this album was great. Everything from the opening track Unholy to the instrumental Car Jam 1981. It was the first Kiss album I ever bought when it came out in May of 1992. I will hold that album near and dear to me for life. Despite that, it failed to gain platinum status and went gold and made it to number 6 on the Billboard 200, which was Kiss's first top 10 album since Dynasty in 1979. Number 9 is The Wildlife, the second studio album from Slaughter. The album reached number 8 on the Billboard 200 and went gold. Even though it was not as successful as Stick It To Ya, they had some moderate hits like The Wildlife, Days Gone By, and Real Love. By the way, if you haven't checked out the music video for Real Love, it featured the late Shannon Doherty playing her role of a model and Mark Slaughter's love interest in the video. I also like the song Streets of Broken Hearts. That's an underrated gem. In the 8th position, Bon Jovi's Keep the Faith. It reached number 5 on the Billboard 200 after its November 1992 release. I did an album review on this very album, that's episode 37. You can check that out for yourself. The songs I like were I'll Sleep When I'm Dead, In These Arms, Bed of Roses, Dry Country, and Keep the Faith. They're all standout tracks from this double platinum seller. It's not at the level of Slippery When Wet or New Jersey, but it still remains a very popular album in the Bon Jovi discography nonetheless. Iron Maiden's Fear the Dark takes the 7th spot. It's the band's third number 1 album in the UK charts, and it would be the last to feature Bruce Dickinson on lead vocals until 2000's Brave New World. Fear of the Dark was the last Iron Maiden record to be produced by Martin Birch, may he rest in peace. The standout tracks include Be Quick or Be Dead, From Here to Eternity, the band's only ballad Wasting Love, and of course the album closing title track, Fear of the Dark. One of my favorite Maiden songs. At number 6 is Danzig's third album, How the Gods Kill. This album was Danzig's highest ranked record on the Billboard 200, reaching number 24. It features a lot of killer cuts like Sistina's, Bodies, and my personal favorite, Dirty Black Summer. There are underrated gems like Heart of the Devil and Do You Wear the Mark? That's on that classic record as well. I even ranked this the best Danzig album when I did my album rankings episode on Danzig just about a month ago, so feel free to check that episode out when you get a chance. The Black Crowes' second record, The Southern Harmony and Musical Companion, takes the 5th spot. Following the success of Shake Your Moneymaker in 1990, the Black Crowes returned 2 years later with the Southern Harmony and Musical Companion album. Reaching number 1 on the Billboard 200 and gone double platinum, thanks to hits like Remedy and Thorn in My Pride. There were also standout tracks like Sting Me and Hotel Illness. At the time, the Black Crowes were the kings of Southern blues rock, especially in the early 1990s. Number 4 is Alice in Chains' Dirt, the second studio album from the Seattle Quartet. This one went to number 6 on the Billboard 200 and went 5 times platinum. This album is far more successful than their previous album, Facelift. A couple of years ago, Dirt was reissued as part of the album's 30th anniversary, and it made it to the top 10 on the Billboard 200. The standout tracks include Wood, Them Bones, Angry Chair, Rooster, and Down in the Hole. Wood was featured on the soundtrack to the Cameron Crowe film, Singles, which was also released in 1992. Dirt is highly regarded as Alice in Chains' best album, and by the way, Lane Staley, rest in peace, man. In the third spot is Def Leppard's fifth studio record, Adrenalize, released in March of 1992. And I remember buying this record the day it was released, and it was like 5 years after Hysteria. And this album had some of the greatest songs of my generation, like Let's Get Rocked, Heaven Is, Tonight, I Want to Touch You, Stand Up, Kick Love and Emotion, and their greatest power ballad they ever put out, Have You Ever Needed Someone So Bad? And after the grunge and new metal eras, Def Leppard managed to survive and soldier on to this very day. This was the only album Def Leppard recorded as a four-piece following the death of founding member Steve Clark in early 1991. Vivian Campbell ended up joining the band weeks after this album was released. Since its release, it went to number 1 on the Billboard 200 and number 1 in the UK, also going triple platinum in the United States. In the runner-up spot, number 2, is Pantera's Vulgar Display of Power. It is the highest-selling Pantera album ever in their careers, going double platinum and reaching number 44 on the Billboard 200. That album put Pantera in the mainstream and carried the flag for metal, even when they accused of Metallica of selling out for being commercially successful after the release of their Black album many months earlier. The standout tracks include Fucking Hostile, Mouth for War, Walk, Hollow, and This Love. I also ranked it the second best Pantera album when I ranked their discography nearly a month ago, so feel free to check that episode out as well if you haven't already. And taking the number 1 spot is Megadeth's Countdown to Extinction. It is Megadeth's most commercially successful album, reaching number 2 on the Billboard 200 and gone double platinum. This album was featured on episode 38 of my album review series. I covered it from top to bottom. The standout tracks include Skin on My Teeth, Symphony of Destruction, Foreclosure of a Dream, and Sweatin' Bullets. And it's my pick as the best rock and metal album of 1992. Here is a quick recap of the 10 best rock and metal albums of 1992. Even though Revenge didn't live up to expectations of Kiss's previous efforts, the band managed to do a reunion tour with its original members many years later to critical success. Bon Jovi's Keep the Faith saw them transform their image and musical direction as the music industry transformed in the early 90s with grunge replacing hair metal. The big two of the new wave of British heavy metal acts, Def Leppard and Iron Maiden, released strong albums in 1992, while Danzig and Pantera developed cult followings with their respective albums. But Megadeth took the top spot with Countdown to Extinction, and that concludes this week's album rankings episode. Don't you believe